we are getting a Justice League Dark series for HBO Max developed by J.J. Abrams and his company Bad Robot. Now, there's been a lot of mystery surrounding this series, especially like when it's going to come out, what characters are going to be in it, is it going to be connected to the DCEU, and all that kind of stuff. But now we have a bit of an update here from Casey Walsh, and Casey is saying that this series is going to be set up similarly to how the Defenders were set up on Netflix for Marvel. And if you're not aware of how that worked, basically there was a Daredevil show, there was a Luke Cage show, a Jessica Jones show, and an Iron Fist show. And then after each show had at least one season done, then they crossed over into this new show, which was called The Defenders, and that's where they all teamed up to take down one bad guy. And then they just continued on with their regular shows. So it's definitely an interesting take, but I think it is a great opportunity and a great way of doing things here. But an interesting thing that Casey says is that these Justice League Dark members could be previously set up in their own movies or series. So that's really interesting because just yesterday we found out that a Zatanna movie is in development at Warner Brothers. So that also said that that was not connected to the Justice League Dark series. But if it's not, and they're still doing this Defenders approach thing, then that's just honestly stupid. I mean, why would you not connect them? It's just going to confuse people. So for the rest of the video, I'm just going to pretend that they are connected because they should be. So they could do a Zatanna movie, like we already know is happening. They could do a Constantine movie, Swamp Thing movie, and all the different characters, and then have it cross over into this big movie for Justice League Dark. Because when it was announced that Justice League Dark was coming at us from J.J. Abrams for HBO Max, I don't know if it was ever actually specifically specified that it was a series, because it could be just a streaming movie. I mean, that's always possible. We could maybe get these individual movies for the different characters and then set it up into a Justice League Dark movie for HBO Max. Or they really could just mix it up and do like a Zatanna movie, a Constantine movie, a Swamp Thing movie, and then do like a Dead Man series, an Etrigan series, and do like kind of half and half. Some movies, some series, and then cross over into a big series. So that's definitely possible. But I definitely think this is a great idea. It worked out with the Avengers. It kind of worked with the Defenders, except it didn't really. But then, I mean, DC started kind of trying to do it with the Justice League, but then they just rushed things ahead, and they did a Superman movie. They introduced Batman and Wonder Woman in Batman v Superman. So I mean, you can kind of count that as like a Batman movie because he was one of the stars of the movie. And then Wonder Woman got her own movie. So you got those three characters set up before Justice League. But then once you get to the Justice League movie, it was like Aquaman, Cyborg, and the Flash were just thrown in there and you had no previous setup. So that's why I think this is such a good idea going forward that they should do with this Justice League Dark franchise is set them up previously, because when you have to take the time to introduce all these characters and develop these characters in this big team up movie, then you don't really have enough time to do all the team up stuff and focus on the actual storyline at hand. And yesterday I also made a video about a Raven movie that is apparently also in development, and I mentioned in that video that it would be great if they were doing that same thing with the Teen Titans or Titans. Like, if they're doing a Raven movie, do a Nightwing movie, a Beast Boy movie, Cyborg movie, or they could even mix it up with series like I mentioned they could do with Justice League Dark, and then they could cross over into this big movie. And I mean, it's just great to have these characters previously set up before you get to see them come together with these other characters, because for casual audience members that don't know anything about these characters previous to seeing the movies, they're not gonna go into this movie being like, oh man, I can't wait to see more of this character or anything and all that stuff, because they don't know the characters yet. They haven't seen anything from them. So then if they get their own series, get their own movies ahead of time before the crossover, then once it comes time for the movie or series or whatever the crossover Justice League Dark Teen Titans thing is, then people will actually be excited for it, and they'll be like, oh, I really love seeing that character in their own series, and I love seeing that character in their own movie, so now I can't wait to see them in this movie teaming up with the other characters, and it's going to be so cool. So I honestly just think that this would be a great idea, and it's a great approach that would definitely work out, and I hope that this rumor is true. But what do you guys think about this? Do you think this is a good approach for the Justice League Dark and possibly even Titans on the big screen or HBO Max series, whatever? But I'm excited for this. So thank you so much for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed the video and hit that subscribe button so I can keep you up to date on everything that goes on in the DC life.